sweeties, how are you doing? Welcome to Naya Cimnanya. If this is your first time of coming across this channel, sweetheart, kindly smash that subscribe button and turn your notification so you are notified each time I upload, and please give this video a thumb up. I appreciate you all so much, and I'm saying a very big shout out to every one of you for the love, the support you all shower me here with. I am grateful, and you all are super sweet. So today we'll be talking something very important, and it's about a palm-colored young boy who tried to drown a black boy, right? I have done this video, and this is an update, right? And this boy, they were calling him George Floyd and all that, using so many racial slurs on him, and the boy cannot swim. He was actually swimming with his life jacket, and they took away his life jacket, right? Trying to. And eventually people saw what was happening and came to the boy's rescue, and they rescued him. So eventually, like, you know, something got to the media and all that. So this young boy appeared in court, and they said they were not going to release him on bond. Only for, I mean, they also went to court on the 13th, only for me to find out that this young man has been granted bail, because they said that he is remorseful for what he did. That was why they granted him bail. And I am telling you, you have to really be careful of your kids, because it looks like when they do anything, they get away with it. Because I do not understand this particular thing that is going on. Being released after a few days, for what exactly? For him to go into the water and continue where he started from, or where he stopped. I mean, some certain things are really very hard to understand. But then it is what it is. So this is more like a wake-up call to everybody. Please be mindful of where your kids are going to, especially when they are going. Please do not let them go out with palm-colored people. I am not saying all of them are bad, no. But there are some that you do not let them go out with, especially if you are not sure of where they are going to or what they will be doing there. Because if this young man had died, it would have been, we are sorry about what happened, that you will be hearing. I am rolling this clip. We'll come back to talk about it. Let me know what you all think in the comment section. So let's get.
A white 14-year-old boy is out on bail after prosecutors say he tried to drown a black teenager in a pond in Chatham. And as WBZ's Louisa Moeller tells us, today in court we learned this isn't the only racially motivated accusation against him.
You can see 14-year-old John Sheeran leaving court after his bail hearing, briskly walking and barely saying a word as he got into a car with his father. A judge said he can live in Chatham on a GPS device.
Mr. Sheeran, do you want to say?
This all stems from an incident in July where a 15-year-old black boy says Sheeran texted him to come to a Chatham pond. Then Sheeran and another boy allegedly threw rocks at this boy and asked him to come into the water. The young man does not know how to swim and wore a life jacket. That's when investigators say Sheeran repeatedly pulled him under the water, once called him the N-word, and another boy called him George Floyd.
This young man, Jack Sheeran, held onto his life jacket and pulled me under the water and back and up and back repeatedly about 4 to 5 times. While doing it, water went into the victim's mouth and nose, and he could not breathe. He started to shout, "I can't breathe," over and over again, and tried to get Mr. Sheeran's hands off him. Mr. Sheeran let go, and the other child started laughing. He called him George Floyd.
The boys allegedly did stop when another child on the beach swam over to intervene. Sheeran's defense attorney, Kevin Reddington, says it was reckless teenage behavior, not attempted murder.
This young man had absolutely no intent to murder his friend.
Is your client remorseful?
Of course, absolutely.
All of these details were heard in court as community members listened, and some of them say what resulted was not justice.
This young man was lucky he didn't lose his life, but someone attempted to do that. Why would you hold somebody down knowing he's saying, "I can't breathe"? You know, he feared for his life.
Hours after the July incident, the prosecutor says that Sheeran punched a 13-year-old Asian boy in the face after that boy called him fat. Attorney Reddington says that his client apologized to that.
A white 14-year-old boy is out on bail after prosecutors say he tried.
Oh, he out on bail? Somebody get him and his daddy down to Lake Lanier. I want them to see something. We can get a boat too. Go for a nice little swim in Lake Lanier. Somebody get him and his daddy. Bring him on down. I'm right up the street. I'll be waiting.
A white 14-year-old boy is out on bail after prosecutors say he tried.
How do old people say it? I'm a work in progress. Hear me out now. God is still downloading or uploading the rest of me. But until he finishes with me, if that was my child, bitch, you would be drowned. You might as well just go back to jail, because you ain't safe nowhere.
White 14-year-old boy is out on bail after prosecutors say he tried.
They be looking so dumb. That nigga got that big afro, look like he's 20 now. They talking about he 14. 14 well. That's why he probably wanted to kill that baby. He was jealous. Man, these people is diabolical. That mug look crazy as hell.
Sure where to begin, because I want to share a story of something that happened to me similar to this in my own childhood. Racism is absolutely disgusting. To want to cause harm to somebody simply because of the color of their skin is pure evil. When I was a kid, and when I was in elementary school, I used to stay across the street from my school in Florida. This was Florida. And the apartments were called La Hajina. I believe it was La Hajina, right? And they had a pool in La Hajina. And every once in a while I would go and I would go swimming. I got to the point where I stayed with my grandmother, and my grandmother would allow me to go to the pool on my own. But she had since stopped because of a particular situation that had happened. I was at the pool one day with a couple of other black children, and I may have been like 6 or 7, and there were 2 particular teenage girls at the pool. You know, they were friends, and they were paying me a little bit of attention, like, you know, coming over toward me, asking me questions, asking me if I knew how to swim and things of that nature. And I told them a little bit, you know. And the bigger and taller one of the 2 girls decided that they wanted to see how long I could hold my breath underwater. So the bigger girl of the 2, she was tall. She wasn't necessarily like heavy set, but she was definitely tall and thicker. She pushed on top of my shoulders and pushed me under the water, and she was like, "You ready?" To hold my breath. And she pushes me down into the water. Now then she positions me into a long flat position where she then stands on top of my back, and she's just standing on top of me in the water. And I'm getting to the point where I cannot breathe anymore, and I'm trying to wiggle and move, and I'm trying to move her feet up off of me, and I'm like, move, but she's heavy. Even in the water, as small as I was, she was very, very heavy. She held me under the water for so long until I really, really started struggling, and her friend noticed what was happening, and I'm absolutely sure that she knew it was wrong at this point. And she told her friend to get off of me, and I saw her push her friend to the point where, like, she didn't shove her friend really hard, but she like pushed her to the point where I could wiggle from up under her feet. And I swam back to the top, and I like gasping for air, like, what the hell? And then I immediately got out of the pool and left, and overheard her friend telling her, like, "Girl, you were drowning that girl." You know what I'm saying? She couldn't breathe, you know, having a little disagreement about the fact that she was standing on my back. I went home immediately. I was distraught. I couldn't believe it. Like, I've had situations even that young where certain tones of people have shown disdain for me, even as a child. But that right there, you know, I believe that was my first experience with people who were like me, people who had the same skin tone, or, you know, I would think that, you know, could relate to me on so many different levels, do something like that to me unprovoked. I was quite upset. I went to my grandmother and I told her what happened, and I cannot remember going to the pool anymore after that day by myself. Things, cruel acts like this happen amongst people. We are faced with people in general who do this cruel and disgusting things to us simply because they can, or they see us as weak and fuckwittable. It's disgusting. It's evil. It's pure evil. It's disgusting. And it's that much more disgusting when we see racism rear its head and do that in society, right? But it's disgusting either way you flip, twist, or turn it. When people are cruel, and it's like, when I feel like when people, it's a result of slavery and racism and the cruelty that we had to endure at a certain time that is embedded in our DNA. The stuff that we had to witness, some children, you know, go out and reenact it, you know, knowing better, but not caring to do better, because they don't care about the consequences, you know what I'm saying? Their lives are in a disarray to the point where they don't care. They don't even think about it. They're oblivious to the consequences, and they're not worried about it. They're living in the moment. They're just trying to entertain themselves for right now, even if that means at the expense of someone who doesn't deserve it. And I don't know what to say about people. This is why I stay away from people, and this is why a lot of people have subjected themselves to staying locked away in the house and not going outside, because people like this are outside looking for people to pick on.
So heartbreaking. We all know that this young man is not going to suffer any consequences behind his actions, because they already trying to tag it as, oh, he's remorseful. Well, how remorseful is he when he get out of jail and he punch a kid in the face? And I'm certain that the reason he punched the kid in the face, the reason they tell him, was a lie. He got a fucking problem. He's a sociopath is what the fuck he is. He's crazy. It's what the fuck he is. He's a racist. He was born and bred to be what the fuck he is. He just got fucking caught. Because guess what? Had the other kid not intervened, and that kid would have been unalived, they would have just, oh, it was just, he just drowned. That's what the fuck they would have said. This is so sad. And I want to say this. Y'all, we living in some really, 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 really awful times as black people. We really are. Whether we want to acknowledge it or not. And I'm not saying, I know some very amazing white people. I really do. I really do. But let me tell you something. You need to teach your kids discernment. You need to teach your kids discernment. That's one of the things I talk to my children about all the time. Paying attention to your surroundings, paying attention to the people you're around, you dealing with, paying attention to how people act, and not putting yourself in certain situations. Why is you at this lake with this boy? Because ain't no way you did not know he was a racist. And let me tell you something. Racists don't have black and brown friends. They don't. That if they do, it's a front. And you don't want to be caught by yourself with a racist. You do not. You do not. It really just pisses me off, because the reality is that could have been anybody. That could have been my son. Highly doubt it. For the simple fact that when you just said, I'm going to the lake to meet the racist kid, the fuck you is. Y'all throwing rocks at him and pulling him under the water, knowing he could not swim. We all know it's two justice systems, theirs and ours. And we all know that he ain't going to serve a day in jail. We all know, other than him going to jail and being released on bond, we all know that he ain't going, there's going to be no consequences behind his actions. We know that. We know that shit for a fact. And it's sad. And we tired. We really tired.
You might have heard the story about this racist, dopey little fuck who's 14 years old and was arrested a few months ago for trying to drown another black kid while screaming things like George Floyd, knowing the kid couldn't swim. It was a really horrific thing, and he was arrested and charged with attempted murder. Well, the new update on that case is that he's been sent to home release, despite a danger awareness assessment that said that he should be held without bail. So he is now home. And if you're thinking, oh, that's pretty normal for them to do to a 14-year-old, turns out it's not. It took me all of 5 seconds to find an example of earlier this year when a 14-year-old black boy was charged with attempted murder and charged not only as an adult, but the girl he was texting, who was on the bus where this attack happened, was also charged as an adult with attempted murder for texting him. This is a clear one of those cases where the rich little white fuck is being treated better than anybody else in that situation. Not that either should be downplayed the severity of what they've done, but it's so enraging that it's that easy to come up with examples of other kids in the same situations who didn't get to go home and start school with everybody else.
Well, hey there, y'all. So in today's Swimming While Black news, quick heads up to my viewers, this video does contain themes of racial bullying and attempted unaliving by drowning. For this story, y'all, we're going to head up to Chatham, Massachusetts, which is located right there in the red. This incident occurred on July 19th at Goose Pond, located in Chatham. Because these are children, there are no names and pictures to go along with this story. In order to make it a bit more understandable, I will refer to them as White Boy 1, White Boy 2, and Black Boy. These kids were all around 13, 14 years old in that area. So on July 19th, Black Boy is at Goose Pond, and he meets White Boy 1 and White Boy 2. Black Boy tells them, listen, I can't swim. And reportedly, someone gave him a life jacket so that Black Boy could swim with his new friends. According to the district attorney's press release, White Boy 1 proceeded to pull on the victim's life jacket and submerged him underwater 4 to 5 times, causing Black Boy breathing distress. The White Boy number 2 laughed at the victim during the attempted drowning and referred to him as George Floyd. White Boy 1, who we know is 14, continued to swim beneath Black Boy, attempting to seize his feet and submerge him again. The prosecution asserts that the bullying stopped when Black Boy cried out for help from the shoreline, which prompted a bystander to leap into the water, rescue him, and bring him to shore. White Boy 1 was indicted by a grand jury on attempted murder and assault with a deadly weapon charge. White Boy 1 attended a hearing on Thursday, August 31st in Barnstable Juvenile Court, and a judge ordered that he be held without bail. His next appearance in court is set for September 13th. At this point, I'm not sure why the child was not charged with a hate crime. I'm not sure what the state and federal statutes of that entail. Anyone else who knows it better than I do, you're welcome to add it into the comments. Now, white folks, I need you to listen to me. Shit like this is why many black folks do not allow their children to come to your homes or go places with you and your families unattended. They have no reason and every expectation that the health and safety of their children is not to be trusted in our care. White Boy 1 and White Boy 2 learned this behavior at home. They learned to be racist little fucks from their racist fucking parents. In fact, I'm not sure why the parents of white boy number 1 aren't also in jail. And I swear to God, if anybody comes into my comments and says boys will be boys or they were just kids, they didn't know what they were doing, I will block the fuck out of you. I have 3 children. My third one is now 14. That child is smarter than I ever was, even in my 20s. This isn't just learned behavior. It's also approved. Otherwise, they would not have felt so bold as to attempt to unalive this black child in the middle of a public pond with other people around. I'll do my best to try to bring a follow-up once he has his court case on September 13th.
I'm going to make this fast because I'm getting upset and I don't want to cry on here. This video is going to have a massive trigger warning. Go back and watch that video and then come back. That video is a prime example of why I cannot take white people seriously when they want to have conversations about how their children are too young to learn about racism and white supremacy. Because your children are never too young to be racist and harm our kids. Those 2 boys tried to drown that black boy, 13, a baby. They tried to drown him and taunted him and called him George Floyd. See, a lot of y'all don't want your kids to learn about racism because you don't want them to know that they descended from horrible people and that some of them are becoming horrible people. If our kids are old enough to be confronted with racism and have to deal with it every day, yours are old enough to learn about it.
Don't let them just hang out with just white friends and they be the only black person.
Listen, I'm an adult and I'm still like this. Like, I had an ex, we used to go everywhere. He was 6'3", 240 plus pounds, 250 plus pounds. If he had to get somebody together, he could, no problem. But we used to go on picnics. We used to go walks in the park. We used to go out of town for date nights, just to go eat or try different restaurants everywhere, out of town, whatever. And if we would go somewhere, I don't care where it was, and I didn't see other people of color, at least 1, 2 people or whatever, I used to be like, I don't want to stay. If I don't see my people, I don't want to be there. And it's sad, but that's really the truth of the matter. Like, it happens more than not, unfortunately. But I'm grown and I feel.
John Sheeran leaving court after his bail hearing.
When will we realize that justice isn't given to us? We have to take our justice. That's the only way against their system. That boy won't do no time. We have to take our justice. We don't get justice served properly.
So this is all I got from the stitches, and I am going to say this. Now you can see that this young man is already out and on bail, right? So this is to tell us to really be very careful with our kids. Make sure you know where your kids are going. Make sure you know the people your kids are hanging out with. And if there are no black people coming over there, please do not let them go. Because it's, for me, I feel like, all this are happening to black people and most times nothing is going to happen. The court already said that the boy is remorseful and he regrets what he did. So because he is remorseful, so they granted him bail. So another person is also going to do similar thing, and they will say he is remorseful, and they grant him bail, and they keep doing their evil and horrible things. So you all can see that there is nobody, it is only affecting you, the black people, right? And the earlier we learn how to tackle this, the better for us. So what we all got to do is make sure we protect ours. Make sure you know where your kids are going, or your kid is going. Make sure you are in their lives, because these people are doing almost everything and getting away with it. And there is nothing you can do. But we are going to keep exposing them, because I don't see They said he was not going to be granted, they would not grant him bail. But now he is remorseful for what he did, and they granted him bail. And with everything surrounding this story, the fact that they granted him bail says a lot. And what if I am not saying evil thing, like, you know, nobody should go and do evil, and say, what if the world switches and all that? You all know that if it were a black person, this person would never see the light again. But because he's a white boy, and they are always remorseful, and because they don't know what they are doing, because they are fragile, he's a very young boy, he's a small boy. It was just, boys will always be boys, kids will always be kids. So it was kids will always be kids. That they granted him bail. And I am saying, is this really fair? Is this really nice? What if that young man, what if he died? They will still grant him bail because it's obvious, it's glaring. You all can see it. This is where I am going to draw the curtain. Thank you so much for the support, and see you all in my next video. Bye for now.